People often talk about Sachin Tendulkar and Virendra Sehwag as a pair. Now people talk about Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli as a pair. It's about time people pay a little more attention to Ravichandran Ashwin and Ravindra Jadeja as a pair. To give you a little perspective on the kind of impact that they've had at home, Jadeja and Ashwin have played 45 test matches at home, out of which the Indian team has taken 828 wickets. And these two guys have taken 58% of those wickets. 481 wickets with a wickets per match ratio of 10.68, which means they take a little more than 10 wickets per match together, which is insane. Now, Jadeja and Ashwin individually as bowlers have so many records, but there's a reason why they work so well together. It's more than just numbers, and that is where things get a little more interesting. We've done a whole video of Ashwin and Nathan Lyon. If you haven't checked that out, go check that out. We do a lot of videos like this, so like, share, and subscribe, all that good stuff. But let's get into it. Now, we talk about Ashwin a lot on this channel, and that is for a reason, right? He has a lot of things in him which we will get into. But now if you see the wickets that he's taken, this is against Australia. He's very tall. He uses his height a lot. He has a high arm, which means that he's bowling it from a height. His release point is from a very high height. He uses his height completely. Whereas Jadeja, on the contrary, is a little opposite when it comes to that. He's not that tall. He doesn't use his height completely all the time. If anything, he's round arm, and I'll get to that in a bit. But if you see his dismissals here again, he doesn't completely use his height. He honestly doesn't need to because his strengths are completely different. And this is what makes Ashwin and Jadeja such a lethal combination, because the strengths are similar yet very, very different. Now, to explain this a little further, we have a whiteboard here where I'm trying to explain to you the trajectory in which Jadeja and Ashwin bowl. Let's start off with Jadeja. Here, as much as Jadeja in general is a lot more round arm than Ashwin, for example, if you don't know what round arm is, more the distance between the bowling arm and the head of the bowler is more round arm. So if you look at the example of Ashwin, and see the distance between his arm and the head, it's very, very small. It's very, very narrow as compared to a Ravindra Jadeja who has a little more gap. And this is when you know that a bowler is round arm. If you look at Shakib Al Hasan bowling or even Kedar Jadhav, as the gap between the bowling arm and the head increases, that's when you know that the bowler is more and more round arm. In this particular instant, Jadeja is using his height a little bit. He's very high arm in that sense, and the trajectory that you see would be, he's a very traditional left arm spinner. With the angle, he's taking it into the batsman and then spinning it out. Again, because it's a high arm, his trajectory is quite different. So if this is the bowler and if this is the release point, he lets the ball stay at the eye level or just maybe a tad little more than that, and then the ball dips in front of the batsman and spins away. This is what the side angle of Jadeja would look like if he's bowling it like this with a high arm. But Jadeja, more often than not, he's a very round arm bowler, like I said. There's more and more gap between the hand and the head, especially on pitches that help him. So if you see Jadeja spin the ball, he traditionally or usually becomes more and more round arm. That's just because he gets more spin that way. There's more side spin with the ball, and it allows the ball to turn a little more. You're not flighting the ball, you're not giving air to the ball. You're almost jotting it in, even if the pace isn't that much, even if you're bowling it slow, you're not giving time to the batter to step down and reach the pitch of the ball. And this is what he does really, really well. He jots it down again. A very traditional left arm spinner trying to spin it away. But if you see the trajectory from the side angle, you'll see that he's not giving the ball air, and the angle is so much more stronger. He's trying to jot it, and he, regardless of the pace, he's trying to make sure that the ball pitches as soon as possible in front of the batsman so that the ball can spin away. And so if you look at the difference between trajectory in this, where he's giving it less time in the air, it becomes very, very difficult, because as a batter, you'll need to be very, very careful. Not only will you have to look at the release points and how he's releasing the ball, but also the angle of his hand, like I've explained here. Now, if you compare this to a Ravichandran Ashwin, who's very high arm, who uses his height a lot, who loves giving the ball hair, who loves flighting the ball, this is the trajectory that Ashwin loves to bowl with. He gives the ball hair, he takes the ball a little above eye level, he deceives the batsman with flight, with the dip. Don't get me wrong, Jadeja also gets dip, but Ashwin gets a lot more dip because of the height, because of how much he gives the ball air, and he tries to spin the ball away. but he predominantly wants to deceive the batsman with the flight and the dip. Now, if you look at the trajectory of Ravichandran Ashwin, side on again, if you compare this to Jadeja, he is very different in that sense where he takes it above eye level and the ball suddenly dips. And this is what makes Ashwin and Jadeja such a lethal combination because of their differences. Now, I'm still talking about the differences, so let's continue doing that. Of course, Ashwin can also bowl round arm, and he did that very well in the second test against Bangladesh. Depending on the conditions, bowlers are supposed to adapt, and bowlers will adapt, and that is what makes them a step above the rest. And that is what Ashwin did. I don't have the footage, but this is what Ashwin would do to bowl round arm. Just change his angle a little bit. Currently, this is his release point. If he releases it from here, the blue line that you see, that would become round arm, which again would mean that he jots it into the batsman and tries to spin it out, just like Jadeja. Now, these are differences in the actions and the kind of deliveries that they would want to bowl. The other difference is accuracy. Jadeja is very, very accurate. Like I said, he's very traditional when it comes to left arm off spin. He doesn't have a lot of variation. So what he holds on to is the speed at which he releases the ball and accuracy. The fact that he can bowl stump to stump all 6 balls is what he holds on to. Whereas Ashwin, he is too accurate, but he knows that his strengths are a little different. He knows the way he releases, even his off spinners have variations. He has a lot of variations in his bag regardless. But the fact that he can play around with just his off spin, it can either be top spin or it can be side spin. And the fact that he can play around with all of that makes that his strength. The ability to do different things with the ball. Whereas Jadeja likes to keep things a little more simple, knowing that his strength is speed, accuracy, and the fact that he can get through his overs so quick. He doesn't let the batter settle. Now, you are a batter batting in the international arena. On one end, you have someone who's so accurate, who's pretty much quick, but can also slow it up, gets through his overs very, very quickly. And if the pitch allows a little bit of spin, he will extract that spin. And on the other end, you have Ashwin, who gives the ball a lot more air, who almost gives the batter time to think and decide what to do. But by the time you do, the ball dips, the ball spins, and you have no idea what to do with it. You have these two guys on each end. Now, as a batter, you wouldn't know which bowler to attack and who not to attack, who to play out. Of course, it also depends on the condition. Ashwin on average would get the ball to turn a little more than Jadeja because of the revolutions Ashwin puts on the ball, and you can just see that with the kind of release he has. But even then, the slightest of spin, the pitch just needs the smallest amount of spin, and then you have Jadeja come into play. Even if there is no spin, Jadeja is at play because of the accuracy that he has. You have these two guys. There's a reason why these two get so many wickets. Now, I keep talking about accuracy, and there's a stat that even shows how accurate these two guys are. Now, Ashwin and Jadeja can be compared to another successful spinning pair of India, that is Harbhajan and Kumble. Ashwin and Jadeja have taken 481 wickets together, and out of that, 111 of those have been bowled. And this is not even considering LBW, whereas Harbhajan Singh and Kumble together have taken 356 wickets, and only 60 have been bowled. And out of these 60, 40 of them are by Kumble. So it just shows how accurate Ashwin and Jadeja is as compared to their predecessor. Now, if you were to look at numbers a little more closely, Harbhajan and Kumble had played 34 matches together, taking 356 wickets. Whereas Ashwin and Jadeja, by the end of their 34th match, had already taken 359 wickets. It's not a lot of wickets, but just goes to show how well they were doing as a pair already. Now, of course, I'm not comparing these two pairs only because so many things differs. The type of conditions they were playing in, the kind of pitches they were playing in, the kind of batters they were bowling against, and the fast bowlers that they had in their team. That makes a lot of difference because as much as Jadeja and Ashwin have taken 58% of the wickets that they've played together in 45 matches, Harbhajan Singh and Kumble had taken 65% of the wickets that when they played together. So all of this makes such a big difference. And I'm not comparing these two. I'm just trying to give you an idea of how different these two guys are, but also how successful Ashwin and Jadeja have been together. Now, the great part about all of this is even though they might be getting old and even though this might be one of their last season and all of that, the next few test matches are in India. So we will see more of Ashwin and Jadeja in play. And this is just the bowling side of things, by the way. The batting side of things is a whole other video that we can make of, but we just wanted to stick on the bowling side of things because they're just exceptional numbers. This has been a video of Ashwin and Jadeja and why they're such such a beautiful pair working together and how we should cherish them while they are still playing. Thank you so much for watching. Like, share, and subscribe, all that good stuff. We put out videos every Tuesdays and Fridays, and we have a special announcement about a special every week Monday episode. So watch out for that. All of our links are in the description below. We're so close to 10k subscribers. It'll always help us if you subscribe and if you share our stuff and comment down below and engage with us. Talk to us because we'll always talk to you back. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.